morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Saturday Matters, and we get to go on an African safari. Our two neighbors here, Glenda and Kay. How many people have actually been on an African safari? Oh, okay. So this will be like a little...
That means lots of people can answer questions if you know.
That's true. You might be off the hook if you can't answer them. So I'll sit down and be quiet, and we'll hear some stories and look at some pictures of beautiful wildlife. I see one now. Okay.
Take it away. Jambo. Did you meet the elephant at the front? Yes. Jambo. Jambo, indeed. That's compliments of Val. Thank you very much, Val. So, Jambo, and welcome to our African Safari Trip Travelogue. Glenda and I traveled to Kenya and Tanzania this spring with an alumni group from the University of Washington. Here's a map of where we went. We started in Nairobi, then drove to Amboseli, then into Tanzania to Lake Manyara, then up to Ngorongoro Crater, over to Serengeti National Park, and then back into Kenya for the Masai Mara Reserve, and then flew back to Nairobi. We spent 1 to 3 days at each of the accommodations, and most days began with a huge buffet breakfast with omelets, custom ordered, followed by a 3 to 4 hour game drive, a huge buffet lunch, a nap, an afternoon 2 to 3 hour game drive, and a huge buffet for dinner. We were lucky to get in about 500 steps a day, and I'm surprised we didn't gain 10 pounds each, but somehow we didn't. But we're already getting ahead of ourselves. Here we are saying goodbye to U House. We took 2 10-hour flights and sat in airports for about 7 hours to get to Nairobi. Lucky Glenda was able to sleep on the way to Frankfurt, but I couldn't sleep, so I was one tired lady waiting for our plane from Frankfurt to Nairobi.
The morning after our arrival, we visited the Giraffe Center, where we learned there are 8 types of giraffes, differentiated by coat patterns. This is a Rothschild. You can see 4 here. Giraffes are the world's tallest living land animals, about 18 feet tall and nearly 4,000 pounds. Interesting fact is that a mother-to-be can extend her baby's gestation period by 1 to 3 months if the environmental conditions seem to unfavor a newborn. These gentle giants are facing silent extinction. The population has declined about 40% over the last few years. Habitat loss and illegal poaching are the main causes. They are poached for their tails, which are used for good luck bracelets, fly whisks, and even thread. The Giraffe Center is a breeding compound that has helped to stem the decline. We had fun feeding the giraffes, though their large bluish-purple tongue heading your way is a bit scary. The tongue came out so quickly it startled me.
The next day, we headed south to Amboseli, where our accommodation came with monkeys on our deck railing. We were starting to believe we were indeed far away from Stoneway and you folks. Amboseli is in the shadow of Mount Kilimanjaro. The mountain is the world's tallest freestanding mountain at 19,000 plus feet. Mount Rainier is short at only 14,410, and it is not freestanding. It's part of a mountain range. Here you have a Thompson gazelle at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro. It is a medium-sized antelope found throughout the savannas and grasslands of Kenya and Tanzania. The Thompson gazelle is on the dinner plate of many animals, including lions, leopards, and cheetahs. Since many animals move in groups, someone decided that the world needed unique names for the groups of each particular kind of animal. So we have a quiz for you, Glenda.
What do you call a group of giraffes? Nobody knows?
Herd, no. Flock, no.
A tower of giraffes.
Oh my God.
And a group of Thompson gazelles. Less interesting.
Tommy.
What?
Tommy.
No. A herd. Right. Got it. Warning, this quiz is to be continued. Our accommodations at Amboseli was about 10 minutes away from a Maasai village. Maasai men are polygamous. Our guide David had a grandfather who had 13 wives and 47 sons, and untold numbers of daughters. Men are responsible to provide for all their wives. Each wife has her own home. These homes are very primitive homes, a clear understatement. They are circular or oval-shaped and usually built by the women. Walls and floors are dirt, straw, and cow dung. The village is surrounded by a thorn fence to protect homes and livestock from wild animals.
We visited the local village, and the Maasai people greeted us in their typical dress, showing lots of red. Red symbolizes bravery, unity, and blood. The specific fabric choice was influenced by Scottish missionaries. The Maasai people wear beaded jewelry made by the women, but worn by both men and women, and a lot is sold to tourists to supplement their income. Here is a sample. And Glenda bought this, but I got to wear this today, and she wore a shirt that she bought in Kenya or Tanzania.
I can't remember. In a gift shop.
In a gift shop. They perform dances for us. Jumping is a key part of the dance. It is a mating dance. The way a man can showcase his strength and attract a potential guide. I was drawn into a women's dance, obviously getting increasingly exhausted carrying a backpack with heavy binoculars, a water bottle, and other weighty items. I'm fading.
See their jewelry?
Wait a second.
Well, they're going to sing.
Oh, they're going to sing, okay. The young school children in the village sang for us, and we gave them gifts of school supplies.
We got into our van for our first game drive, and we were treated to elephants. Elephants are the largest land animals on Earth. Quiz time. What is a group of elephants called? A parade. Well named because they do fall in line.
Oh my gosh.
They have the longest gestation period, 22 months, of all land mammals. Newborn calves weigh 265 pounds. Fun fact, they eat about 18 hours a day. And no wonder it takes so long to get sufficient nourishment. Each bite doesn't provide much. This is a photo with an acacia tree. The elephant has smelled something interesting and puts his trunk position for better sniffing around.
And then we came across camels. What a surprise. It was not on our list of what we would see. Camels were introduced into Kenya by people from Somalia in the 1980s. Now camels number about 4 million and are replacing cattle, primarily for milk, but also for meat. Camels are better adapted to the changing climate than cattle are. And a group of camels would be called...
Caravan.
Caravan.
Caravan, yeah.
Who was that? Brilliant.
It was Frank. Was it you, Frank?
No. Behind. What was it?
Caravan.
A caravan.
A caravan of camels.
Our next stop was Lake Manyara in Tanzania. Like all of our accommodations, it provided no rustic challenges. Oh yes, from the infinity pool that we swam in, we could look down to Lake Manyara National Park, the park where we would go on our next game drive. The major attraction on the game drive was baboons. Our first sighting was of about 30 baboons in a tree. It turns out that Lake Manyara has the highest concentration of baboons in Africa, and we saw plenty.
Quiz time. What is a group of baboons called? Nobody knows? A troop of baboons. Here they are, sitting around, grooming, moving in the trees, carrying their young topside, and down under. And here, Dad is checking it all out to make sure the troop is safe. Next, we drove to Ngorongoro Crater. It was a long drive over unpaved roads. We were often going 50 to 60 miles per hour on gravel roads with small ruts, and frequent stretches had rough washboard texture. A bumpy drive. The van was constantly jerking up, down, and sideways. At point, one needed to hang on so as not to end up tipped into the aisle. We experienced the African massage, and it was usually the most exercise we got in a day.
Our lodge was on the edge of a 2,000-foot deep crater. This is sunrise at the crater. The crater is 100 square miles with wetlands, forests, and grasslands. It is its own ecosystem with unparalleled wildlife. There are 30,000 large mammals and is one of the few places where seeing the Big Five is possible. Different quiz. What are the Big Five?
Lion.
Lion? Yes. Elephant?
Rhinoceros, yes.
Not tigers.
Leopard.
Zebras.
Yes, leopards?
Zebras.
No. Nope, not hippos.
Buffalo.
Cape buffalo. Cape buffalo.
We never did that.
It's named the Big Five not because the animals are big, obviously, but because they were the most difficult animals for the hunters to kill.
At most of our accommodations, we had music or dance entertainment before dinner. Look at the big guy on the right. At this lodge, we went on a short hike, accompanied by a knowledgeable ranger and a security guard in case an aggressive wild animal decided we looked like dinner.
This is the security guard.
The guard was in traditional red clothing and equipped with questionably effective implements if a determined animal did appear. On the hike, we saw some women with impressive loads pass by.
What we saw at the crater, lions. And there are some lazy lions. Lucky them, they live amongst animals who show them total respect. A lion can nap anywhere in full sight of everyone. And some don't even mind showing off their stuff. They nap for 20 hours a day. And that's quite the contrast with a poor elephant who has to spend 18 hours eating every day. At some point, even the lazy lion realizes there's been enough laziness and it's time to do something, beginning with a big stretch. A main exercise is getting the dinner meal. We were hoping to see a lion killing its prey, but had to be satisfied with a cheetah trying to kill a wildebeest, and failing. The cheetah can go from 0 to 75 miles per hour in 3 seconds, but can only maintain the speed for just less than a minute and then has to rest. This next video, taken by a fellow traveler, is a tad confusing, but you can make out a chase, and then failure, and then fatigue to the point of letting a potential meal walk by. And you can also notice that the photographer gets a little excited, and so you lose track of what's going on for a while, but they come back.
You can see how fast it was streaking, though, when it was going.
And there the wildebeest just walks right by him. Could have been dinner. But we did find a lion enjoying the rewards of a successful hunt. This guy is loving the rewards, though it is likely that his dinner was caught by a female. Smart guy.
He was just a few feet away from our car, from our truck or whatever it is.
And there with his 2 cubs. And after dinner, satisfaction.
And a group of lion is called... They're the most social cats on earth. Sorry.
But that's not the only lion activity that we saw. This lady gently makes her demands and is satisfied.
Hey, this wasn't billed as X-rated.
X-rated, yes. A true quickie.
They are the most social cats on Earth. Still in the crater, we saw a group of flamingos. Quiz time. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
Pinky.
Oh my God.
A flamboyance of flamingos. That's cool, isn't it? Flamingos get their pink color from their food. They dine on algae and brine shrimp. As they dine, their feathers turn pink. Often near the flamingos, we saw Cape buffalo, also in abundance in the crater. They are dangerous animals, despite their cute appearance in these photos. They kill more hunters in Africa than any other animal. They have excellent memories and will ambush hunters they have encountered before. They are not the biggest animal killer of humans. That would be flamingos. They kill Mosquitoes. They kill about 700,000 people a year. That was supposed to be my big line. Mosquitoes. As a group, the Cape buffalo are called. No.
You like that response. You're right.
A buoyancy of Cape buffalo. Old Divide Gorge is a 31-mile gorge where in 1959 anthropologist Mary Leakey found a 1.8 million-year-old human skull and revolutionized the study of human evolution. Also found at the site were the oldest stone tools ever found. The Leakey family continues research at this site.
Next, we travel to the Serengeti. The Serengeti is 5,700 square miles of endless plain. It is the highest concentration of large animals on the planet. There are vast treeless plains teeming with animal life year-round. Wildlife aren't here. False. False intro. And an acacia tree. It is a well-visited area, but the roads are not exactly well marked. And where you drive changes with the rain. This was one of several rainstorms that we drove through, and the road literally became a river. We ran across one van that was stuck deep in the mud. Where you can safely drive after a rain is not at all clear, as the grass obscures what is firm land and what is swamp. The professional courtesy among drivers is for every driver passing by a stuck vehicle to stop and help. Here, 10 vehicles stopped, including ours, and it took about a half an hour to free this vehicle. We saw giraffes. Though they were impressive on day one at the breeding center, in the wild they were majestic. This giraffe is getting bugs and lice eaten off its neck by birds. And this giraffe decided to spread its legs and not eat upward but eat downward. The movement of giraffes is fluid and graceful.
The Serengeti is well known. Got to get the pictures to catch up. The Serengeti is well known for the migration of animals, and seeing any aspect of it is off the charts amazing. We weren't there at peak season, but it was stunning nonetheless. The wildebeest and zebra are major players in this migration. As some areas in the South Serengeti become too dry for good grass feeding, and others in the north green up with nutritious grasses. The migration begins. This map shows the yearly clockwise migration of the animals in the Serengeti. Each year, about 1.3 million wildebeest in the South Serengeti give birth to 500,000 calves in the same 2-week period, creating a glut for predators like lions and hyenas, but enabling more calves to survive the crucial first 2 weeks. Had mothers produced many fewer, there would be no hope of the next generation. The migration begins soon after the birthing. The wildebeest northward 500-mile migration is the largest animal migration on Earth. It is a cooperative endeavor with other animals like the zebra. Zebras like the longer, taller grasses, and the wildebeest like the shorter grass, so there is no competition between them. Plus, they can warn each other of predators. Zebras have better eyesight and wildebeest better hearing.
It is a difficult journey for the adults. To the sound of waves of pounding hooves, wildebeest and zebras flow in a living current across the Serengeti as lions and cheetahs stalk and take down the weakest members. And some wildebeests are eaten by crocodiles. Crossing the Mara River is treacherous and ends the migration for many. This is a scene we did not see. The video is thanks to Al.
Was a group of wildebeest.
Wildebeest, yeah.
We might come to it.
With so many predators around, it is typical for about 250,000 wildebeest to die, along with 30,000 zebras during their journey.
And what is a group of wildebeest called? No answers? A confusion of wildebeest. So, as we said, zebras move alongside the wildebeest. Zebras are dazzling. And oh yes, a group of zebras is called a dazzle. Here they are silhouetted against the distant hills. This is a dazzle of zebras before the peak of migration. A 360 view with multiple images gives you nothing but shoulder-to-shoulder zebras off into the distance. The stripes are unique to each zebra, like our fingerprints are to us. They likely help zebras recognize one another. In contrast to the self-assured lion that sleeps anywhere with no care in the world, a zebra sleeps standing up by locking the joints in its knees. Because they are standing, they can awaken quickly and escape the predators.
We then headed north to Kenya. It was a long drive, so we had many more African massage hours. We enjoyed seeing people on the road with with outfits very different from what the Maasai wore, and seeing the typical overloaded bicycle. We crossed into Kenya and then had the opportunity to be documented with a photo of us sneaking back into Tanzania. No entry. Oh, and we entered. The photographers in Kenya and we're in Tanzania. Law-abiding folks we are.
Yeah.
Not always. Okay. Our final stop was the Masai Mara. It is the northern part of the Serengeti that's in Kenya. We scheduled a hot air balloon ride. The basket was difficult to get in if the people had mobility problems or were short. So Glenda signed up for an assisted lift. With the basket on its side, two guys lifted her up, tipped her on her back, and slid her into the basket and loaded her onto a bed. I didn't see her for 5 minutes as the crew worked to inflate a balloon, which was a very hot proposition. She was really close, and it was on for a long time. Hot proposition for Glenda, the other preloaded woman, and of course the crew that was doing it. But when they tipped the basket up, I knew she had survived the ordeal. I saw her hand. Being in the balloon allowed us to get a different perspective on the vastness of the Serengeti. We're in the balloon, and there's another balloon out for the day, and our shadow. We drifted close to the ground for a while, allowing us to get an unusual view of animals. And then hidden amongst the grasses, there was a river.
It was amazing to see that from the balloon.
And you can hear, oh, I can't. Our pickup crew followed us to our landing spot and took us to a scrumptious breakfast on the savannah. There we found a beautifully set table and a breakfast of mimosas, custom omelets, and pastries.
Well, that's what she said. I never did.
Back to the animals. As soon as Kay gets ready here. What are these? Yes, it looks like a raft you could walk across. Maybe because this is called a raft of hippos. Sometimes they self-cool with a flip of ears in their tail. Many are submerged for most of the day to cool off and keep from getting sunburned.
Hang on just a second. Okay.
When they display their teeth, it is impressive. A final big yawn. Wait.
Now.
Wait for the end of this video and you will see some water ballet and a rollover somersault. We leave the hippo scene in all its full glory. March 6th was my special day, my birthday. The kitchen must have shut down as it seemed that the entire staff was singing, dancing, and chanting as they entered our section of the dining room, bringing a lovely birthday cake. bit embarrassed. My fellow travelers were kind with birthday wishes, as were all of you who sent me a card with and a packet with Kay.
On our last,
There's my birthday cake. Good, too.
On our last day of the trip, we went to the home of Karen Blixen, a Danish woman who, under the name of Isaac Dinesen, wrote Out of Africa in 1937. She came to Kenya with her husband to establish a farm near Nairobi. She loved her work and life on the farm, but was even more captivated by the people and the amazing country. During her time in Kenya, she built a small primary school at her estate, which offered education for the children of her Kikuyu workers. Karen, ahead of her time, felt the children had a right to be educated. The Kikuyu were the first tribal group in Kenya to undertake anti-colonial agitation in the 1920s and 30s. It was fitting to visit the Blixen home on our last day as we headed, drumroll, out of Africa.
Thank you very much for coming. Questions?
What year did you go?
We went this year, February, March.
This year?
Yes.
Oh.
Where did you get these archetype words for various groups of animals? All these different groups.
On the internet. I looked on the internet. And also, actually, one of our friends that was on the trip, she was interested in things like that. She took down a lot of words that she heard and the names of the animals, yeah.
I have a whole book full of
Do you?
Yes.
What was the outfit that you went with? Odyssey Travel, right?
So you dub contracts with different travel groups, and on this trip it's Odyssey.
And we went to a reunion for the UW travel group the other day. They had door prizes from the different travel groups, and Kay won $1,000 voucher. So that goes towards your next trip, right? Exactly. Anyone else?
And anyone with other stories about Africa?
Yeah. Africa stories? Do you have an Africa story? Okay.
Having the video was just great.
Yeah, that. Did you do those videos yourself?
Most of them were our pictures. A few, like the river was not ours from the balloon, and Al gave us the wonderful one on the Mara River.
With the crocodile having lunch? Yeah.
Which came from the net. I didn't take that.
Yeah, he did not take that.
In the village you went to where...
Wait for them. We can't hear you.
Visited where the men had all those wives. How did they have enough women in the village to go around?
Nobody told us that. Maybe they met people from there are thousands of Masai people in Africa. So I'm sure they don't always pick their bride from their village.
Correct. And actually, it was our guide whose grandfather had that many wives, and he wasn't from that village. He might have even been from urban area Nairobi, I don't know.
So you think it's changed?
Sounds to me there are a lot of lonesome bachelors out there.
Stephanie and I have gone hot air ballooning and gliding, and I want to say, when you go up in a hot air balloon, other than when they turn the burner on to add some heat, it's so quiet and wonderful. It's really an unusual feeling. However, when we took a glider, after the plane released us and we had no engine or anything, it is amazingly loud inside the fuselage. I'd say it's louder than a subway train. And it's the whole ride. I mean, you just hear a tremendous amount of roaring, even though you would think there'd be no noise because there's no engine.
It roars when they turn the burner on, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so. I didn't even notice that. No, I'm sure not. I'm sure not.
I had a nice trip to Africa in 1999 visiting a grad student who was doing some research in Zimbabwe. But I just got into 2 national parks, Kruger in South Africa and Hwange in Zimbabwe. But when my guide showed up, he was very apologetic. He said, there's been a cancellation, so it's just you and me. So for 3.5 days, I had a private guide in 4x4. And we stopped at the gravel road, and he said, oh, what have we here? And it was a cheetah mom with 2 yearling cubs.
Oh.
And I got hooked on video right then and there.
Yeah.
Baby. Okay. Come in. Mom was very well prepared. Love your narration. Beautiful pictures. This is very good.